It is Thursday night, March 24th, 2022. And for the first time in about 2 weeks, you're listening to a brand new episode of the Boiler Breakdown Podcast. I'm Tanner Lee, along with my co-hosts Evan Webb and Andrew Eiler. We're on the eve of Purdue's Sweet 16 matchup against the Cinderella story of the tournament, America's favorite team right now, the St. Peter's Peacocks, Boilermakers' fourth Sweet 16 appearance in the last 5 NCAA tournaments. What's going on, fellas? How are we feeling tonight before tomorrow's big game?
Got the gang back together for the first time in a while.
It feels good.
I know, it's been a while. Tax season's been kicking my butt.
Well, we appreciate the accountants like you, Andrew.
A quick shout out to a Full Steam Ahead podcast, which because we didn't record after Tanner and I.
We were going to, and we're all tired and lazy.
We were exhausted.
Let's be honest.
Shout out to Adam, who's probably watching his Wolverines right now, which are currently up, or they're currently down 10-9 against Villanova. So,
oh darn!
I won't tell you who I'm rooting for, Adam. I don't want to make you
mad. Yep. Silence here. But yeah, it's been a little while. I mean, last time we recorded, it was the week of the Big Ten tournament, which of course Purdue ended up getting to the title game for the 5th time in school history, but lost. So their record in the Big Ten titles now 1-4. All time, but we won't talk about that. Let's focus on the positives.
That's all right. That team also didn't make it very far last weekend either, so it's okay.
True.
I'd trade.
Do you guys think there's anything to the whole? Because there's two sides of it. Because you've got a team like Iowa and Illinois last year who go to the Big Ten title game, they win the Big Ten tournament, then they get to the NCAA tournament and then either flame out in the first round like Iowa did this year, or they flame out in round of 32 like Illinois did last year. Then also you've got teams like Oregon State last year who won their conference tournament to get to the tournament and then made all the way to the freaking Elite Eight. Like, do you guys think there's anything to it, or is it just a Big Ten team flaming out early like we always see?
I think it's just the Big Ten.
Yeah.
I think Big Ten style just beats up each other, and it's just a brutal style. I don't think the Big Ten tournament because Iowa made a run to get to the championship and won the game. I mean, Purdue was there in the championship game, so they didn't have any more or less rest.
Right.
Either way, so I don't know.
Iowa did play one more game, but
to get there, but
yeah,
it's interesting. I go back and forth on it because, we've seen teams like Michigan years past make a run all the way in the Big Ten tournament, then make a run clear to the national championship game, I believe, that year.
Was it 2018? Did they do that?
Was that when their plane slid off the runway or something?
2018, they made the national championship, so I must have got my years mixed up.
I think
2017 is when they made the run to the Big Ten title game, and then they must have made the tournament, but maybe they didn't make a run that year.
I don't remember.
But then we've seen, Purdue a couple of years ago knocked out on the Friday round by Minnesota, then made Elite Eight run and were seconds away from going to the Final Four. So I don't know. I don't know what to think of conference tournaments anymore. I mean, it's definitely more for the team.
Looks like has some audio issues. I think what he was saying is more for the teams that you definitely saw teams who play on Thursday. I think that's what the tournament thing is really for. It seems like so you got teams like Michigan, Indiana this year, especially who essentially were playing a play-in game. What we thought was a play-in game. Turns out that both teams made it. IU won, so you think Michigan would be one of the last teams in it, or one of the last teams out. Michigan gets the bye, and Indiana, who also beats Illinois, somehow makes it a play-in game. So that was bizarre, but I think kind of what Tanner was saying. I think it does absolutely nothing for seeding, at least especially if you get to the title game. I mean, the fact that Purdue made the title game and was still a 3 seed, and one of the last 3 seeds was bizarre to me. I thought maybe if we would have gotten there, we might have had a chance at a 2, and we weren't really even close. Granted, you had teams like Villanova who won their conference tournament. Tennessee won their conference tournament there, so they were ahead of us, but still, it was weird to see that we weren't even really close to the 2 line at all.
No, I was more I kind of as it went along, and I was like, I think Purdue's gonna be the 2 in the East. Like as it gets to it, nope, the 3.
Yeah, and didn't get Indianapolis like we all thought we would.
Freaking Michigan did.
Yeah, that's an 11 seed. They get it. I can't remember where I heard this, but someone was saying that which the Big Ten won't because of TV money. That's what drives it. But they said the Big Ten. So this seems like the seating's set by the time we get to Sunday. Maybe the Big Ten should have their conference title game on Saturday, and then let Sunday be dedicated to all the mid-major conferences or kind of the one bid leagues so that they can have an entire day just focused on them.
It'd be I haven't heard that. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, because it's all these teams that it is like okay, Purdue and Iowa. That game did not matter.
No, it did not matter
because both teams are getting in the tournament. Maybe moved Iowa up a line. I don't know if that changed.
I have no idea where they were. They were what, a 5 seed?
Yeah, I have no idea if it would have or not. If Purdue wins, if they are a 2 seed, probably not. It's already set. So yeah, it'd be kind of cool to see those one bid leagues. Because it'd be way more interesting. Plus, then it's like I get almost like a Thursday, Friday of the March Madness where all these games are going on at the same time, and it's like, oh, that buzzer beater really mattered because that team's season's over, or vice versa. That'd be cool. I don't see the Big Ten changing it. I think I've kind of always liked watching the Big Ten championship because, as you or Tanner mentioned, Purdue's 1-4, so I mean they're in it fairly frequently in our lifetimes.
Right. I mean, and it leads right into the
yes, that's what it's cool because you watch it and then 20 minutes later the selection show comes on and it just kind of leads right into March Madness starting and everything. So I'm kind of like that. I don't see it changing. I think it'd be cool. I like that idea.
We got you now, Tan. Maybe not. Technical difficulties. We all come back together and look what happens. But yeah, I can't see the Big Ten doing that just because of the TV money. I mean, the ratings, I'm sure, are pretty high for that game, leading right into the selection show. But we can dream.
Okay, am I good? Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. Sorry about that, everybody. Gotta love technical difficulties. So, but I have no idea what you guys were talking about.
I had said that we were talking about how, because I think what you were saying that the tournament basically only matters for the Thursday game because you got teams like this year, Michigan, Indiana, who, essentially were playing what we thought was a play-in game versus like, as we saw Purdue get to the championship game and the seeding really not matter at all. Had they won, I don't think the seeding, I don't think it would have jumped up to a 2 had we beat Iowa. So I was saying, I can't remember where I heard it and I wish I could remember, but someone had said it'd be cool if the Big Ten moved the championship game to Saturday. And then, so that way the committee could see it because that might matter more, but then also leave Sunday to be all the championship games of all the tournament of all the conferences that are going to be one bid league. So it's literally like winner. I mean, literally is do or die for those, which would be really cool to see leading up into, because a lot of times, those teams are usually, you're slotting them in at 11 through 14, maybe 11 through 16 seeds. So it's not like it's that much of a difference, but I think that'd be pretty cool to see from a fan standpoint of watching those. It'd be really fun for have a full day of winner, literally go like playing for your national championship essentially for all those teams.
Yeah, I don't know since I don't some of the smaller conferences, I can't say I watch a lot of those tournament games other than the highlights when it comes down to a buzzer beater. Or I know Furman was about to make, like Furman hits the buzzer beater or a last second shot to go up, which would have put them in to win the conference and make the NCAA tournament for the first time in like 45 years or something. And then they lose the buzzer beater. So I remember that one, but I don't say I've ever watched the game. But aren't those games earlier in the week? Typically,
yeah, and even the week prior, because there was the 1 year when Purdue played at Madison Square Garden where we had to play the tournament a week prior to what we normally do because of the Big East tournament.
No, that was the Big East, but the smaller conferences where I don't know if like schools host them or
usually they'll play usually it's like one of the schools hosts that conference for at least for those really small ones because a lot of times you'll see like the number 1 seed is the host school or something.
But I just wonder if they're like the only game on the Tuesday night when the Big Ten hasn't started yet, Big East hasn't started yet, if that tournament game, because it's the only game on, gets more publicity than if it was on Sunday with every other game.
Yeah, good point.
Well, it's interesting that you brought up, the year the Big Ten was in Madison Square Garden, they had the week off afterwards. Michigan makes the national championship that year. We see Gonzaga every year they're the West Coast Conference tournaments a week prior. They get
And
a
they
week
get a
off.
bye week
Then-
until the semifinal, which makes that conference
Yeah.
bracket makes zero sense to me.
So I mean,
I couldn't even tell you that if Gonzaga won the conference tournament this year. I'm
They
assuming
won
they
it like
did.
they won it.
Yeah, I couldn't. I just didn't know what's a regular season
I
game.
think didn't
versus
St.
the
Mary's win
tournament.
it a couple years ago? I think in like 2019.
yeah.
So I think I remember like that was big. So I think I remember like it stole a bid that
Yep.
IU was on the bubble. I remember that was huge. A lot of people were upset.
I mean, because that conference got not only St. Mary's and Gonzaga, but they also got San Francisco in this year.
Mm-hmm.
So they got their rare 3 bids. But it is interesting, the debate. I don't think there's a clear right answer of what to do about these conference tournaments. I don't see them going away because of the
No.
money factor, but I just don't think they mean as much as they did even 5 years ago.
No.
Unless you're a bubble team like you guys were
Yes,
talking about.
I think it's almost like Thursday is like almost like the best day to watch because those are the teams that, especially like that 8-9 game is usually those teams are. I mean, they're fighting probably for a playing spot. They're probably one of the last 4 and last 4 out.
Well, one conference tournament that definitely does matter every year is the Ivy League because the winner of that gets in. It doesn't matter what you do in the regular season. Purdue played the Ivy League tournament champion Yale Bulldogs in the first round. And thankfully, we finally had kind of our first relaxing win since probably Nebraska
December.
at home since in January.
Or even like, did we win by 20 against Northwestern?
Without Ivy.
Yeah.
Without Ivy. Yeah.
Well, actually, even they kind of made that because Boo Boo kind of went off for a little bit there. But yeah, probably Nebraska was probably the last.
It's just been a long time, and it felt nice. Our size just overwhelmed them.
Friday afternoon.
But I will say at the start of the game, Yale was hitting some shots. I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
Especially the one where I forget the guy's name. He's right-handed shooter.
He shot it left-handed.
Or he's left-handed and he shot it right-handed.
Yeah.
And makes it. I'm like, okay, if they're gonna make stuff like that, it's Little Rock all over again.
That's exactly what I thought. Yeah, because I was watching it at work. I think I literally was like, I let out a couple of curse words. I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, is this what we're gonna do today?" Like,
yep.
Am I gonna have? I was like, I had a meeting like about halfway through, and I was still watching. Kind of had it on my laptop, but it was just like, it was nice to not really have to pay attention in the second half, really, because our size just overwhelmed them completely.
And it's funny, like I was cool, calm, and collected all day that day, and then right before tip, I got really nervous. Yeah, I was watching it with my parents. My dad's like, "Oh God, here we go!" like it doesn't matter what happened during the season; it's like now. So I mean, because you can have good seasons like Iowa won the Big Ten tournament, Kentucky. Illinois, Wisconsin, Kentucky win regular season titles, but you get bounced early, and it doesn't feel that good.
Right. I mean, even kind of like last year. I mean, we didn't have like a great. I mean, it was great in terms of the fact that we had zero expectations going into it, and then it's like, hey, we can make some noise this year, and then lose North Texas. It's like, oh, well, I guess we beat Ohio State that one time and Michigan State.
Yeah. So Purdue got over that hurdle. Didn't have to worry about the mid-major upset, thankfully. And then second round, they saw the one of their old arch nemesis in Chris Beard. The Texas Longhorns.
That can we talk about how bad that TV broadcast was? Like they talked about Chris Beard like 65% of the game.
Yeah,
it was like Chris Beard,
and
he just owns Matt Painter because he's
my biggest. That's one of my biggest gripes with this tournament is like, I mean, you love the tournament. There's been some amazing games, but it's like a lot of whether it's the commentators for the game or the in-studio guys, it's very clear that maybe like 4 of them have watched any.
Don't even get me started about the in-studio guys or women.
Yeah, which Candace Parker, I mean, she's probably the best one out of that group just because I feel like she does watch. I mean, she's incredibly biased towards Cincy, which I don't blame her. I would too if I was in studio and Purdue was playing 100%. I know she had a lot to say when we beat them in 2019, but it's like I don't. Aside from like Seth Davis, who obviously watches, but it's like I don't think these guys have watched like more than 4 games of college basketball outside of maybe like you had like Rex Chapman who watches only Kentucky. I think I don't know.
Well, and Seth Davis all year long, he said, I'm rooting for Purdue. I want him to make the 5-4. Then he picks against us every single game.
Yeah, it's like lock of the. I think he had Texas like the lock of the day, and I was like, okay, that's fine, whatever.
Yep.
It's like. Well, I can't remember now at the top of my head. I remember there were some comments that were being made during games, and I was like, have you not watched any of Purdue like at all this year or anybody? Because it just seems like they're just watching for the first time.
Who was it? Somebody said how we play our two big guys all the time. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, we don't.
We played like once for 10 minutes and it went horribly.
Thad Moody says, I'll take the 65% talk about beer in the game than versus having to listen to Avery Johnson commentate another game. Yeah, I'm not a big Avery Johnson commentary fan.
I think he did the Indiana playing game. I was watching it with my
He did.
fiance, and it was, he's even Hannah, my fiance, was just like, who is this guy? And I'm like, you have no idea.
Yep.
I forgot he existed until I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot he's a commentator.
Didn't do so hot at Alabama as their head coach.
I did not know he was a commentator.
Yeah, he's not very good.
I think he started commentating after he got let go at Alabama.
Yeah, they have to bring in so many more people for an NCAA tournament, and a lot of their good ones, like Robbie Hummel, does radio on Westwood One. CBS needs to cut a deal with him for the NCAA tournament.
Let's have he just needs to work for. I mean, he works for Fox, works for Big Ten, works for ESPN. I don't know how he does it.
He just doesn't, just not Purdue games, because I don't think how many games did Purdue. What was Purdue's record when he called?
2-5, I think.
Yeah, a game, and then I think we. That's all I can think of, but I like Reggie. I think Reggie does a pretty decent job. I do like the A-list guys of Raftery and
they got on my nerves during our Big Ten games though, because I feel like they were all on Izzo, and then the story of Iowa. Well, I don't know. Maybe that's just my Purdue bias being like, where's the love? But
and then freaking Gottlieb on the radio for the Big Ten.
He's awful.
Yeah,
but he's the worst.
But
all right, back to Chris Beard and the
What were like going into? I'll say my thoughts, but what were your guys' thoughts going into the game? Because I think Tanner, you're probably feeling the best out of the three of us.
Yeah, I actually felt pretty good. I don't know why, because Chris Beard has been that nemesis for us, and I knew we were going to probably struggle with their pressure at times. But I knew they were not a very good offensive team, and they don't shoot the three well.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how they were going to go.
First game.
Yeah.
Or the first game.
I didn't know how they were going to guard our post guys, which, come to find out, they did the strategy that Michigan State did the first time we played them, and just kind of went one-on-one. We'll let the bigs get whatever they want, but we still shot a lot of threes. So,
and that's where it was kind of fortunate that Trevion was unconscious the first 15 minutes of that game. I think he started out like 9 for 9 or something, didn't he?
Yeah, he was filling up
8 or 9 shots.
Because I felt awful going to that game. Like I was just like, are we really doing this again? We're gonna have like an awesome season and then lose to freaking Chris Beard again. Like it was more of like the what if. Like if this happens again, I don't know if the fan base would ever be able to recover. Like it was gonna be awful. I wanted to throw up. I had to drive to Illinois for work on that night.
I couldn't remember if you texted that about the Texas game or the Yale game that you wanted to throw
Probably
up.
both. I mean, really, I've said it before. As soon as Selection Sunday happens and we know our bracket, I immediately am just nauseous 24/7, just from anxiety. But that the 3-hour drive to Illinois was awful because I was just like because I knew as soon as I get there, it's gonna be like 20 minutes before game time because I timed it up perfectly. And I was just like, please don't let me have to go to work tomorrow. This a miserable person because of Chris Beard again. Because it was a late game, which I was not a fan of. But
no, that sucks when you have to worry about it all day long.
Yeah,
I didn't. Yeah,
I tried to keep myself occupied and not thinking about it, but it's easier said than done.
Well, especially because you saw. Did you feel any different when you saw? I mean, not that it really did not matter, but I mean, it just from a fan perspective, it sometimes does for our psyche. But we saw Ohio State go down first, then we saw Illinois go down. We saw Wisconsin go down. Did that mess with you guys at all in terms of? It actually made me feel like, hey, let's be the one team to win today.
Yeah, I kept thinking something's got to break the Big Ten's way.
Right. I mean, Michigan had won the day before against Tennessee, which was.
And I got to admit, I wasn't rooting for any of those Big Ten teams to win.
No, not at all.
I think Illinois was the only one I had in my bracket outside of Purdue making to the Sweet 16. I hate the rest of the Big Ten. I was like,
I had Iowa, Wisconsin.
I had Iowa, Wisconsin in the Sweet 16. I think,
Purdue and Illinois,
sure why, but I had Illinois losing in the Sweet 16 to Arizona.
Yeah,
I remember they looked awful both games.
Their guard play just disappeared.
Yeah, Curbelo. I mean, they played better without Curbelo for a lot of the year, which is wild compared to what we saw last year.
Don't remember he's the best point guard in the nation. We heard that in November. I will say he wasn't the same when he came back from his concussion.
No, he
I don't
wasn't.
know. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, we got through Texas. I mean, it was a nerve-wracking game at points. I mean, we got up huge in the first half, but you knew they were going to make a run.
And during that when they got up big, and that was when Texas didn't score for 10 minutes, and Purdue went from down 6 to like on that 20-0 run, and it wasn't
up 14.
Even
yeah,
and it wasn't even like Purdue like offensively wasn't playing that well. It was just
a lot of free
they
throws.
played well defense. Texas was missing a bunch of shots, so it wasn't like Purdue scored 20 points in 3 minutes. They scored 20 points in 10 minutes.
Right.
Like it wasn't.
They weren't on fire either.
No, and it was like, man, like Purdue should be up 30.
Yeah. I mean, I was okay. I was happy to have the halftime lead. I'm like, we should be up at least 6 to 8 more points than we are.
Yeah.
But it's NCAA tournament. Runs are going to happen. You just know it.
And then Texas came out hot.
Yeah,
flipped it pretty quick in the start of the second half.
Caleb first hit one of the bigger shots of the game in the second half, hit that go-ahead 3-pointer, and then it was the Jaden Ivey show at the end.
Our first couple threes were, I think our first 2 were Morton and First.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what prop bet like that was.
Yeah, who had that in their bingo card?
That probably made a lot of money. Yeah. But
Ethan Morton threes over under.
It was wild. Is like I feel like Ethan's the only one outside of Sasha and Ivy who catches the ball ready to shoot.
Yeah.
I mean, because Mason's not doing it anymore.
Mason's been super hesitant.
Isaiah's not, unless Isaiah is wide open. He's not doing that.
I can't remember the last time he hit a three.
And Hunter takes his time.
He takes his time. He has to be wide open. Typically, he's not a catch and shoot guy. He's usually a catch and gather. But Morton did it in the Big Ten tournament championship game against Iowa, where he just caught the ball and let it fly, and it went in. So it's like,
and I can't remember him missing.
No,
wow.
No, he missed one against maybe Yale. He missed one recently that was short, but no, you're right. More times than not, when he shoots, he makes them though. I wish he would shoot more. I thought everybody played pretty well against Texas except Sasha. I thought he had another rough outing.
He is driving the struggle bus right now.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you think it's the balls? I think
it's his finger. I think it's his finger.
See, he shot pretty well against Indiana at home, and his finger was hurting then too.
Yeah.
And he didn't shoot that poorly against Michigan. I don't think he did that bad against Michigan State, did he?
I thought he did bad the whole Big Ten tournament. But
maybe he did. I don't know.
I mean, the two he hit against Yale, the second one hit the rim 5 times. It was fucking prop.
And it looks like to me, and hopefully nothing's wrong with his finger, and hopefully he snaps out of whatever's going on. But it seems like all his misses are short, too. I don't know.
We hit that one.
I don't know. Yeah.
Was it Texas? No, going back to broadcast, I'm not sure what CBS is doing, but their camera angles and CBS are awful. Like that Jaden Ivey block would have been against Texas would have been so cool had we been able to see it, because he blocked it and then you don't see anything happening. I was like, did we get the ball or did they keep it? Because all of a sudden it cut back to normal angles. Like, oh, Texas has the ball. We just missed 5 seconds of gameplay because of the stupid camera angle we're looking at.
Make me nauseous. All the different camera angles, the free throw ones. The free throws are awful. They go above. It's like, just do the normal side shot. Or the one I've always hated in college basketball, and even NBA has done this for years, where they'll pan out behind the point guard on the way down, and so you see the whole floor. It's God.
I like that angle on 2K. It's a horrible 2K angle. I'll play that angle, but it's way down. I mean, you need some height on that. That's awful. I absolutely hate that. Yeah, they just love to ruin games with that stupid angle.
They want to show off their fancy camera work. And
it was kind of cool though at the Big Ten tournament. I was there in person. They had a camera along the sideline, or along the sideline, on the opposite side of the bench. They would just zoom back and forth. I'm not really sure what angle that was on. You don't see it very often, but it's basically just as if you were just laying on the floor, which I guess is cool if you wanted to lay on a floor during a basketball game and see the angle.
Each their own. Yeah. Each their own. But how nervous were you guys getting towards the end of the game when Purdue gets a kind of comfortable lead, and then we foul on the and-one 3-pointer, and then Travion gets a lane violation? I thought, oh my God, we're going to lose. Those 2 plays are going to go into Purdue lore.
Yeah,
like just add it to the chapter. chapter.
There was how many? At least 3 fouls on a 3 because we had 2 on for us, and then we had 1 on defense. But there was I think that was probably the most fouls on a jump shot I've seen in a long time. Because there was, Texas only shot jump shots. It seemed like, but yeah, that was when that happened, I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" Like this, because we were up like 10, and then all of a sudden they hit the 3, you get the free throw.
What much time was up? Like 3 minutes or something? 2 to 3 minutes?
Yeah,
I think it wasn't like a minute, but it was like 3 to 5, 3, 4, 5
close
minutes.
To where like 10 points was not out of the question to give up.
End the game. If Purdue makes their free throws and doesn't start kicking the ball,
Yeah.
2 quick score updates. Arkansas is up at half, 32-29.
Whoa.
And Villanova's up with 5:52 left in the first half, 20-15.
Gonzaga's been struggling out of the gate all 3 games. I know against Memphis, they were down big, and then Drew Timme put on an absolute clinic in the second half.
He did.
Who'd they play in the first round? I watched the second half of that game.
Georgia State.
That second half of the game was unbelievable. I think Georgia State was up 1 or down 1 at halftime.
And they were right there with them with about 10 minutes left, and then Gonzaga's like, all right.
Yeah, it was like I think like I got home from work and it was like 28-27 or 33-32. It was like a 1-point game, like around 30. And then like 2 minutes later, it's like 55-54. Like both teams like were just on fire. And
it was back and forth.
Like Gonzaga scored like 65 points.
Yeah, Gonzaga, I think, literally fouled out like 4 of their guys.
Yeah.
Well, so at that point, it was like they're having a guard. Guard Chet and Timme, and they're just like, that's not gonna work. So that'll be interesting.
We just also talk about how Hunter Dickinson's the worst. I've got it up on my.
He is the worst. He is the worst.
Yeah, I was texting a friend of mine who's a big Tennessee fan. I was like, "You guys about ready to see why the rest of the Big Ten hates Hunter Dickinson?" And sure enough, he delivered even more so than he probably has against a Big Ten team.
Well, poor Andrew was there in attendance for the Michigan Tennessee game.
So how was it? Give us your recap.
It wasn't that bad.
I don't believe that for a second.
Like the fans weren't that bad. Like, because we were also like 3 rows from the top. So
I would have went and got myself a Brock Thompson jersey, sit there and forward progress stopped. Music City Bowl champ hat.
Who tweeted that?
I would have got punched.
I think it was beneath the paint. Yeah, Tennessee's forward progress has been stopped.
No, it was pretty entertaining.
Don't worry though, they're shelling out $8 million for 5-star quarterback recruits. So
8 mil,
and they can go back to the Music City Bowl next year.
Yep. But felt good to beat Texas. Loved all the hook 'em down gifts. I had that one loaded and ready to go. I'm just like, please let me use this.
Yeah, that win, I texted you guys, but that win felt just as good as beating Tennessee, and this week's going to go to the Elite Eight for the first time since 2000. I think it was just because, we finally, we did. We've only played them twice, but it's been the monkey on our back since 2016, so it's been, 8 years essentially, but it's just finally
And it was nice to beat Texas. We haven't beat them.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of with Purdue's turnovers issues kind of throughout the year. That was a good test, I think. It was playing well, back to kind of on that level. Hopefully, you can keep it going. It
was very much a Big Ten style opponent of just muck it up and get in your face, which kudos to the officials for finally calling the fouls that they should be calling. But because
what do you? I know. I guess we're going to be not biased, but more realistic, I think, than outsiders. That the free throw discrepancy that Chris Beard was all hot and bothered about, even though his team probably could have had double that many fouls, just because of how physical they play defense.
They were hitting Trey and Edie every single time.
Oh, I know.
So,
and they were grabbing Ivy by the waist every time he wasn't holding the ball.
And you do that, and you shoot 33s on offense, and don't try to drive the ball.
The those things, they weren't even trying. And usually, and also when they did drive, it was after I think Trey got his 3rd foul, so he was playing a lot of Matador defense where he wasn't even going to attempt to give the official the chance. So a lot of times when they did go up, we kind of just let them do it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was one of those things where it was
and it's also
I mean, I can obviously see it from. I mean, if it was the roles were reversed, I would also that'd be one of the things I would be chirping about. I mean,
Blake
obviously
Griffin game.
the Blake Griffin
But-
game, which I don't remember that game at all, aside from
Lucky
that.
you.
Yeah, but it's just like, but I mean, at the same time, it's like you watch that game. I mean, Texas shot way more. I think they said they shot so many jump shots and never really pounded the ball inside, and that's all we did.
You could tell they were driving in and trying like floaters and like fading away from Edey and Williams. They were altered, and that's where like endless Purdue's defensive style is just so different. Purdue's defense,
they're aggressive.
So aggressive, and Purdue is don't give them free throws, don't get in foul trouble, because if Edey and Williams are both in foul trouble, then Purdue's offense is shot because it's kind of built on having one of them on the court.
And call me crazy, but I think Purdue's defense has been pretty good the last 5 or 6 games.
Yeah, I think really once we got to the Big Ten tournament, I think we saw a lot different. Which I mean, it could have been that obviously that break that we had from the Saturday the IU game to the Friday. I mean, I remember reading some of the people who were there like on press row saying it seemed like we talked, or the team talked so much more. We saw the Brandon Newman emergence of which has been nice to see. He's not playing as much as he did obviously that Penn State game, but it's not like he was like being super communicative on the floor. I mean, Morton did an amazing job on Carr. Obviously Carr has been a pretty nightmare for his career at Minnesota before he transferred. But yeah, I thought Morton did an amazing job, and if we can have that, just have someone just aside from Eric, who's just a bigger guard and can guard someone maybe a little bigger, that's just can hopefully do some good things.
That's what I always kind of thought Newman could have played a role in some of those games, like instead of Thompson, just because he's longer, bigger, stronger, a little more physical.
You saw it quite a few times last year where he would get a couple block shots here and there just because of his athleticism and length.
I think it's more just comes down to him taking care of the ball. I mean, we saw against was it Michigan State or was it Iowa where he had like 3 turnovers real quick, and it's like I got to take him out.
Yeah.
So, but he made a huge hustle play against Texas, diving on the loose ball.
Yeah, that was huge.
So I think we all texted at the same time. Like, love Newman.
Yeah. So it's big to get back to a 10-man rotation. Where's that Jaden Ivey shot to go up 6 with a minute left rank for you guys in Purdue history among shots?
Man, it's probably up there with the Klein shot. Which is funny because I don't think was Klein shot even. I think it was even just to go down 1. I don't even think it gave us the lead.
Oh yeah,
it was to tie it up.
Was it to tie it? Okay.
Yeah, and then they came down and made a layup.
Yeah. But I mean, especially just given the fact that he hasn't been a good 3-point shooter as of late. I mean, he started the probably first half of Big Ten season. He was shooting 40%, and then he went on a stretch where he made like 1 for 16. So to see him hit 2 big threes was awesome. I mean, I think it's just
the moment. He definitely
it's definitely one of those guys where talking about where he tell you wants the ball.
Yeah, that one. I mean, technically wasn't a game winner, but like how many? That's like I guess consider it a game winner because it clinched the game and kind of was. It's like his fourth,
third
or
fourth
against Ohio State twice.
Yeah,
last year, and then it didn't end up winning the game, but he hit that game tying.
Wisconsin
center.
Yeah, and even that we didn't win, but it was like again, if he misses that, then the game's over then. But the fact that he hit it, led to the biggest BS shot. And
I mean, that's big players want the ball in big moments, and he definitely does. He definitely has that Carson in him, that Caleb Biggie Swanigan in him, where game's on the line, give me the ball, I'm going to make a play.
Yeah.
One of our buddies, Evan Luke Wagner, he texted me after the Texas game. He said that might have been his favorite Purdue win of all time.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I can see. I mean, it was like that. It felt very cathartic after we won. It was just like, thank God we got it. For one, it was like, I think 2 it was just like it was kind of a sigh of relief of like, okay, we got to the Sweet 16. It just it wasn't a obviously if we lose the Sweet 16, it's a disappointment. But it's like we just by the way that we saw the bracket open up with Kentucky losing, with Baylor losing to North Carolina, I was like, okay, we're now the top seed. Like if we beat Texas, the door is there. We just gotta
we've never seen that in our lifetime.
Never seen that. No.
Usually Purdue's got a 1 seed.
Coming,
and that usually is going to go on and play in the national championship.
2019 we played the 14, the 6, then we played the 2 in Tennessee, then we had to play the 1 in Virginia. So
that's true. But normally, I guess,
But usually it's we have to play.
It's usually to play the 1 and the 2nd or 3rd and the Sweet 16, round of 32, not in the Elite 8 or
Right.
something, but usually it's earlier.
Yeah, it's like the door's there. Just gotta obviously get. I mean, you can't take St.
Exactly.
Peter's lightly, but it's like,
Nope.
man, if you can get to the Elite Eight against the UCLA or which UCLA scares me, I'll say that,
Mhm.
or like a North Carolina team which you've already beat, but they're playing well. It's like
I don't feel. I think I'd rather. I don't know. I think I'd rather play UCLA.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know if I want to try to.
It's hard to
North Carolina
it's hard to
again.
beat a non-conference team twice in a season. But Carolina's go-to guys, their big guy. I think he'd be easier to shut down than UCLA's 3 guards.
UCLA's got some guards,
but
yeah.
I mean, they're
and
gonna defend. They're gonna defend the hell out of you. But I don't know. I mean, hopefully that is an if. Hopefully we get past St. Peter's tomorrow. I mean, I'm down to take on either one. It's a big program. It would feel that much better if you beat one of the big programs, get to the Final Four, and I mean we're gonna have to play well against no matter who it is.
If assuming Purdue gets to Sunday, I'm gonna have to have that game on mute because if it's Purdue against either of those schools,
it's true.
The broadcast is going to be all for North Carolina.
Tomorrow's going to be hard. Tomorrow's going to be hard to listen to.
This is going to be. I think it's going to be a dumb environment for Purdue because I really hope that UCLA and UNC fans don't come to the game until later because if they show up early, that's going to be a road game.
Well, yeah, the campus, I mean, it's a small campus, really small, but it's only 2 hours away. And I think the whole state of New Jersey's adopted this team as their team.
I think anybody who doesn't have a team in the tournament
that's
has
true.
That's true. The other 15 teams,
That's true. So it's
not even the other 15 teams are probably rooting for St. Peter's too. Just because
absolutely.
It's a 15 seed, yeah.
Everybody outside of Purdue fans, everybody is. I mean, and that's one thing, Evan. You were talking about the bracket breaking down. That's one thing that would have been frustrating losing to Texas. We would have been stuck with the what if.
Oh yeah.
Had to watch Texas against St. Peter's.
Yeah.
If Texas were to go out and beat St. Peter's by 40 or something, and Purdue's like, gosh, it's just a walk into the Elite Eight. Yeah.
But we are playing a St. Peter's team that's hot right now. They beat Kentucky, then they beat Murray State. I'm hoping the week off kind of cools their momentum. In the past, Oral Roberts last year, even though they only lost by like 2 or 3. And then Florida Gulf Coast back in 2013. They're the only previous 2 15 seeds to make the Sweet 16, and they lost. So I'm hoping the momentum cools down a little bit. Their biggest guy, 6'10". He comes off the bench, though. So I just say pound it down low early and often because they foul a lot, get them in foul trouble, and then let Jaden do his thing.
Did you guys watch any of the Kentucky St. Peter's or
Murray State game? I caught the end of that.
I watched quite a bit of both.
I watched like the first half of the Murray State game, and honestly, I was more thinking about Murray State at the time, so I don't remember St. Peter's that much, but they seem pretty athletic and hard defense. Tough defense.
They play tough. They play tough. Yeah, they're not a great offensive team, even though they run a lot of sets. Like one of the commentators saying they run almost more sets than anybody in the country. But they do play good defense, and they are physical, like you said, but they foul a lot. I was watching that game with my girlfriend, the Murray State St. Peter's game. I'm rooting for St. Peter's out loud because I see Murray State's athleticism. I don't want to.
They've won 30 games, they've won a ton of games all year. Yeah.
She looks at me as the game's going on. She's like, "Are you sure you're not rooting for the wrong team?" Then I'm having flashbacks in my head to 2011 to where I was rooting for VCU over Georgetown, and then like halfway through the game, I'm there in person. I'm like, "Yeah, I think we need Georgetown." But St. Peter's hasn't made this is their first trip to the tournament since we beat them in 2011.
Yeah, I mean, like a very different team.
A very different team, even though they were seeded better that year as a 14 seed than this year. So it's going to be an interesting one. I'm glad it's the early game tomorrow.
I hope it's not. I hope it's Friday against Yale, and it's.
I hope you're right.
Stress-free.
I hope so.
Friday night.
I mean, I am feeling good about it, I will say.
Yeah, I keep going back to they're a 15 seed for a reason. Like it's, like I said, hopefully the week off kind of, everybody's been loving up on them. Like they've been feeling themselves like, hopefully that maybe takes away some bit of edge. But I mean, as
they're getting Buffalo Wild Wing NIL deals.
Which is awesome.
It is, great for him.
I mean, there's, obviously their coach is all but essentially taken the Seton Hall job since he's, an alum, and the last time last time a New Jersey team made the Sweet 16 was Seton Hall, and he was the point guard. So there was someone posted on Golden Black. Apparently, he's actually been he has some issues with recruiting violations back in the day. I think when he was a Seton Hall assistant or Seton Hall associate because impermissible phone calls. So a little
I
Kelvin
was going to
Sampson.
say recruiting violations at St. Peter's.
But yeah, hopefully, that's taken a bit away. And obviously, I mean, we've had, a couple days to scout them. If it was a short scout, I'd feel probably way more nervous. But the fact that we've had a couple days to work, I have some confidence in staff.
Give Painter a week. Give Painter a week to scout these guys.
Yeah,
and they're not going to sneak up on them because it's like, hey,
no, I mean, because especially with
us
losing to North Texas last year, like these guys know what it's like to take. You'd think, yes, but
yeah.
What's you guys have? We're going to do a score prediction, or you want to wait?
Yeah. The line's 12.5. Purdue's fair by 12.5. I'm going Boilers 81, St. Peter's 60.
60.
I
think Purdue wins by 21.
81. Yep.
I would absolutely love that.
I think it'll be like, I don't know, 7 or 8 point halftime. Then we get up in the second half. They make a run, and then we end up closing out with tons of free throws.
The biggest thing is just not letting them creep into it, because if they do, especially late in the game, that crowd is going to be
longer. You keep them in it.
Yep. Yeah, and that's where I'm worried that I mean, like what we kind of saw with Texas. If the Texas game is called like a Big Ten game has, where Purdue shoots 20 free throws instead of 45 free throws, Purdue loses that game by 7 or something. Like Purdue does not win that game.
Worries me with who the officials are going to be tomorrow, because we know that Courtney Green's out there, and
that's where I'm kind of with Tanner. Like I think I want to say Purdue like 81, like 80 to 67 or something. Like I want to say Purdue wins by like 13 to 15. Like they
say that's
cover maybe.
Purdue 78 to 65. I think they barely cover. But
I would love it at 20 points. If Purdue shoots 45 free throws again, then Purdue's going to win by 20.
Yeah,
but that's what I'm banking on.
I'm kind of a little worried that after the publicity of that Texas game, that it's going to be a little more just because the refs are going to let them play, just because of that complaining and how odd it looked if you weren't watching the game or knowing the two styles between Texas and Purdue, how the different types of defense. That I'm just worried that that's going to be overcompensated.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. So, all right, so say we get past them, we're to the Elite Eight Sunday. Who do you think wins between Carolina and UCLA? I guess is the first question.
UCLA.
I think so too.
They're the better team. I mean, they were preseason. I think they're number 2 coming into the year behind Gonzaga. They made the Final Four last year, as they went from first 4 to Final 4, which was then they lost on a crazy buzzer beater to Gonzaga. You've got Johnny Juzang, who's potential lottery pick. You've got Jaime Jaquez, who's apparently is supposed to play. I think
day to day. He said.
Okay. Yep. Tiger Campbell, who was a Purdue recruit at one point. They've got the Miles Johnson transfer from Rutgers, big man. Great defensive big man. And they have a ton of pieces, and they said they're a really good team. And I think they didn't win the Pac-12 because that was Arizona, but I mean but also it's weird because they're also a 4 seed, which is I thought they might have gotten bumped up, but I just think they've got too much talent. I mean, Carolina blew a 25-point lead against Baylor, almost lost.
That officiating was horrendous.
It was awful.
True.
It was so bad.
That's where I was. Yeah, they did get flustered after.
They did.
Once it got going, and then they were flustered.
And I know most teams that end up winning it or making long runs, they have that one game they should have lost and they squeaked by. That was UCLA in round 1 against Akron. They should have lost that game.
John Gross. Come on, Johnny.
Johnny special.
Yeah. I mean, Carolina. I mean, they've got some good big men. They've got some decent guards, but I think UCLA just is gonna. I mean, it's gonna be a cool matchup. It's gonna be probably one of the better games, I think, of the Sweet 16.
Yeah,
I would think.
Plus, just the names. I mean,
Blue Bloods.
That's the name, the schools. Yeah.
Well, and that's
what I'm worried about assuming Purdue gets there and plays one of them.
I mean, it will be kind of cool though, just the narrative of if it is UCLA, if both UCLA and Purdue win, because there's obviously you've got the John Wooden factor. that we played back in '69 in the championship game when they beat Purdue. The first game of Mackey Arena was played against UCLA. So there's some history between those teams. Did we play each other in the Wooden Tradition down in Indy? Did we do that?
I don't think we ever did. They had the Wooden Classic out in California at the same time. There was two Wooden. There's a Tradition and a Classic, so they would usually host a Classic. We'd host a Tradition.
Yeah, it'd be cool. Just like the stories come out of that. Obviously, they're gonna flash the however many freaking titles they've got. I think they've got like over 100 national titles as a school versus Purdue's like 3. But yeah, I think UCLA.
Yeah,
eventually gets the dub.
So I would say that's the matchup. Does Purdue get it done? Do they go Final Four for the first time since '42? Do they win it for Gene Katie, Robbie Hummel's knee, Isaac Haas's elbow, just a stupid ass Virginia game? It's so many other Lynn's back. Wisconsin in 2000, who beat us like 5 times that year. Does Purdue finally get over the hump?
I think we can. Yeah, I don't know. It's so tough because it's gonna be a tough game.
Have you guys seen the? I don't know what it is now, but I think on Monday the odds for the winner of each region, Purdue was minus 125 to win the East.
Yep.
I would never bet that, but I like that. That's where the odds are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. It's part of me is like, if not now, when? But at the same time, I think Purdue's set very well for the future too.
Yeah.
So
I think I said that. I felt like I thought that was Caleb Swanigan, like his last year. I'm like, okay, like Purdue's got a National Player of the Year. Like they're not going to have that like anytime soon. Like it's not now. Like it's never going to happen. And then and then here we go.
2019, yeah. 2019 happened.
Yeah.
And then it was like, if we don't have another Carson Edwards coming in, like if not now, then when? And then here comes Jaden Ivey.
Well,
trust Matt Painter.
And Evan, you text us today. It sounds like Ivey said he's real close with Carson Edwards. Carson was a big reason he came to Purdue. If it wasn't for that Purdue run in 2019 and Carson put on a show, he made Purdue look cool.
Yeah.
And so we get a player like Ivey, and getting Ivey gets players like Miles Colvin and
Drayden Gibbs-Lawhorn.
Yep. And then hopefully those guys are dynamic guards when they get here. You got to have good guards to win a March.
Yeah,
but who's Zach Edey going to get us? Is he going to get us like a 7'6" guy?
Matt does that himself. He just turns out. You remember that factory underneath? It's like underneath Cranard or somewhere on campus. It just turns out these 7-footers. William Byrd coming in next year.
Yeah. So. Carson showed that Purdue can play. You can be a good guard and play at Purdue. And I think I heard Boyle Sports talk about in their recent podcast that I think it also taught Painter how to coach a player like that, because Carson, one of those guys, kind of a loose cannon. You just kind of have to play through it. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to, as we all saw, which there's still people out there who don't really like Ivey, which I don't understand. This is literally generational talent coming to Purdue, and probably one of my, if not he might be my favorite player to ever play at Purdue, which is saying something. Considering the guys we've had just in the modern era, especially under Painter. But I think that definitely showed Painter like how to coach those superstar guys, where it's like some guys they make a mistake and they're getting pulled, but it's like these guys you kind of have to let them figure it out, and sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. There was that stretch at the end in 2019 where Carson was just bad for really the last stretch of the season. It was kind of like, oh my god, we lost to Minnesota, and then the tournament time comes and it was like he's putting up 9 threes against Villanova, and it was just
barely hitting the net.
I know we texted about it the other day. It was just like, Ivey can take over a game with his driving ability and he can hit the three, but it was like, man, Carson could just
such a quick trigger too. You give him a foot, it's going up.
If he got high, it was just
across half court. He doesn't have to be,
he was so fun that year. Gosh.
Yeah.
But I guess I got 2 more questions for you guys. If Purdue makes the Final Four, no matter what happens during that Final Four game or potentially the game after, great, successful season, right? It's not championship or bust at this point, right?
No, it's. You're talking about something we haven't done as a program since 1980. The legendary coach that we all love, Gene Katie, never made a Final Four.
Nope.
And so it's one of those things where it's like, obviously that the title's the goal, but at this point, just making a Final Four, just to get that monkey off our back, I think it would be that's what we were aiming for. I know the players want the championship as they
sure.
should, but I think as a fan, from a fan standpoint, if we make the Final Four, and lose by 20 to Gonzaga, I mean, it's going to suck, but it's like we just made a Final Four for the first time ever.
Yeah, and like short term, that'd be tough. But then like a week later, you're like, okay, Final Four is not too bad.
like a year or two down, the following fall when they have Team of the Week on the football game, it's the basketball team. They talk about the Final Four. You're like, this was my favorite team of all time. Like it was one of the best seasons we've ever seen. Like you quickly forget that.
I know it's not the same because Butler is a school of like 4,500 kids, but like going there right after the Final Fours. Even though they lost in the national championship game, nobody talks about them finishing runner-up. It's always like back-to-back Final Four, Final Four. But like they made it to the championship. Like they went past the Final Four. Right. Nobody talks about it. They always talk about they made the Final Four, which is awesome.
It's got that lure,
which is always I've always found that so odd with college basketball. It's always like it always seems like Final Four is a bigger deal than making it to the
runner-up. Which I thought that was weird at first, but that was like
Yeah. Well, same thing kind of in college football with the playoff now. They always talk about they made the playoff. They'll talk about like who made the championship as a runner-up, really. Right. It's always like they made the college football playoff. So, yeah, it's kind of odd.
It's whoever wins the championship, then everyone else will say they made the playoff. And
but I do agree with you guys. You got to start somewhere, get the experience of making a Final Four. Then if you get there eventually and hopefully another time, then it's like, go win the whole thing.
It's like Gonzaga. It's like, they made the Final Four, once, twice. It's like, oh, this is really cool. And it's like, now it's like, okay, they need to win. Otherwise, it's not successful in their eyes now.
And I really think if Purdue plays up their potential, they can win the whole thing. I mean, I'm not saying that, but would it change your guys' tune of what we just talked about if Gonzaga loses tonight?
Yes.
Let's say Gonzaga loses, Duke loses tonight. It's Arkansas, Texas Tech. Then it's like, okay, we're the whole damn thing.
That was like in 2019 when we made the Elite Eight. I was like, awesome. Like this is, I don't remember 2000. Like I don't remember that at all. So it's like, I've seen something now that I haven't seen. That I remember. This is awesome. And I was like, I'm fine. Like this is cool. And then as I remember riding down to Louisville, I was like, screw it. We're here. Let's win the damn game. But I'm sure I would think that too. But
that's how I felt too. Like. Before the game, even eating dinner, I'm like, this is awesome. And then I got in my seat in the arena before. I'm like, all right, let's go win this thing.
Yeah.
Like screw just being happy we're here. Let's go beat these guys. Yeah. So, let's just bust the whole thing up. Let's get like Arkansas or Texas Tech in the Final Four. I'm going to throw up, but let's get Michigan in the Final Four because I think they're the easiest opponent up there. And then let's get Iowa State or Miami, Florida in the Final Four. Just bust this thing up. Or Providence. No, but it's going to be fun to watch. That's for sure. My other question is, and the last thing I can think of is, so Matt Painter's got 6 Sweet 16 appearances now. That's one more than Gene Katie has,
which is wild.
Say he breaks through this weekend, they gets to the Final Four. Can you make an argument that he's already Purdue's best coach ever over Gene?
I kind of on the graphic that I don't know who sent it out about like the draft of coaches for I don't know.
I sent that. It was the Barstool Chicago. Draft,
and Katie was on there, and I was like, I kind of thought to myself, I'm like, should Painter be there instead of Katie, or like is Painter on there too? I kind of was like, oh, then Painter's got to be on here,
right?
So I kind of already had it thought in my head that they're pretty close.
I mean, this is his 17th year. Gene was there 25 years. I mean, we got. I think Matt's going to be an extra 8.
I think
I
think Painter's got 15 years.
Yeah, so I mean, he's got to pass him. I would think in all of his accomplishments.
So, Purdue has 29 wins right now this year? Mm-hmm. So assuming Purdue wins tomorrow, that'd be 30.
That would tie for the most ever with the 17-18 team.
Yeah. So I mean, just 30 wins in a season. Yeah, I mean, just kind of the clear trajectory. I don't know if he'd say he's there yet, just because he's got Katie had there 8 more years. But I mean, you can clearly see it's going to be there.
Well, that would give him the same amount of Elite Eights too.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
yeah.
So
I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's one thing that Katie really struggled in the tournament for whatever reason. It seemed like he had no problem winning the Big Ten, but then you get to the tournament and so aside from a few fluky, obviously the big dog year and then 2000. Which
87 too. A lot of the year IU won the championship. A lot of people thought Purdue was the best team in the country. Mitch Richmond got him.
But I think if you keep Bates in the Final Four, I think you have to. You could have the argument, but I think that would just from that it would set it up to you be up there just because I think Anderson just the trajectory is sky high right now.
Yeah.
It's also
hard to
it's also a completely different time too.
It is, but
Yeah.
it's those arguments are
Well,
never going away.
I was thinking back to like even like the baby boilers and like when like Chris Kramer and how good of defense Purdue played then. I'm like, Purdue couldn't play that type of defense.
Oh, Chris would be fouled out in the first half.
Exactly. Like they can't play like that. And like it's
it's changed.
all the fouls, like the defense, and that's why
It's changed.
I don't know. It's kind of cool seeing Painter's like
he's evolved so much. Like, I feel like there was for a while there, I felt like he was like that was a big thing. Like he's stubborn, he's stuck in his ways, and all of a sudden, like something, I think Carson had a lot to do with it. He's learned to that. First it was like we're gonna be really good on defense, and then we're gonna have some good pieces on offense. But then it's like screw, let's just get a flamethrower. The most dynamic guard we've ever seen in Purdue history.
Yeah.
And we'll figure the defense out later. You can always teach defense.
And he started trying to grab the best shooter he could every year. That kind of started with probably Ryan Smith.
Yeah, I think Smith was the first one. Yeah.
DJ Bird, but
yeah. I mean, it's you can definitely make the argument. I mean, on the flip side, this is off topic, but like I know Jeff Brom's going into his 6th year. That's half of what Tiller was there at 12 years. Brom would have to win the Big Ten, wouldn't he? So consideration with Tiller for best coach of all.
Because Tiller went to a bowl every single year and got the Rose Bowl, but
that's a whole different conversation because staying at a program for 12 years in college football is
unheard of.
Pretty rare nowadays. Unless Kirk Ferentz
or Saban.
That's Saban, yeah. Or some of those SEC schools, I guess. Now I don't see Kirby going anywhere anytime soon.
No,
but.
How long Dabo hasn't been at Clemson that long.
It's been a while, but I don't think 12 years.
That long, yeah.
But Brian Kelly was at Notre Dame for 12 years.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
That was a Southern boy.
Oh, God. But
bam, what?
Yeah. But any other thoughts? Anything I've missed?
I'm just glad we made it to the first weekend. It's just like such a sigh of relief,
Yeah, I mean,
like, I think it's just because there's so much high expectation. Where it's like before, I think it's just cool to win, but now it's just more like, okay, thank God we didn't lose. Really.
Yeah, and it's super stressful just because it feels like it's been. Purdue had the really highs of dominating, playing, and looking like the best team in the country and getting number one. And then with the tournament, there's so much crazy, stupid stuff that can happen.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like survive in advance, exactly what like the slogan, whatever, survive in advance. So
Thad Mooney's got a good comment here. Matt's the professional student. He's always learning and tweaking his coaching style, as you guys said. Gene was the grumpy old man who didn't evolve with the game the last 4 to 5 years. His recruiting definitely just bottomed out at the end too.
I think you could tell also with Painter. This is may be off topic. He is awesome to listen to talk to.
Yes.
Oh yeah. So I think he is very, very well liked, and I think
he is too.
Has a lot of friends in the coaching, and I think he listens and he learns a lot from a lot of different coaches. And
I think that you Brian Newbert said this last year, or the year before. Basically, I think he's now starting to really reap the benefit of just being a good guy, where people like him, and when these other when parents and recruits talk to these people, like they can't really say a bad thing about him. I think that's definitely helped him out finally. 17 years.
What was the Greg Doyle tweet today too? I mean, like it was about Painter, but it's about the kids that he.
Yeah, it was a national writer leaned over to him and said, "Man, these kids are really likable." And then Doyle said, "It's every year."
Yeah, because more times than not, he gets good kids. I mean, he had a few bumps in the road, and usually the bumps in the road don't last very long. He does a good job of getting assistants that are good guys. I mean, he did have Dang Fife for a hot minute, but look what Fife is right now.
I totally forgot that he.
It was never officially announced, but he was on campus for 2 weeks before he.
I do remember
went
that
up
he
to East
was
Lansing.
a candidate. I didn't know that he ever was like on. Yeah.
They said he legit had an office. Like he was on campus. I
was reading that.
They handed him Purdue gear and everything, and then he spurned them for Michigan State and stayed up there forever, and then went to his homeland and didn't work out too well for him.
Oh, it's unfortunate.
Didn't work out. And it's funny because you go on Twitter, some are defending Woody and some are, we still love you, Dane. Like, this is strike 2 against Woody, strike 3, and I'm done. It's like, all right. I was enjoying reading those comments last night.
Yeah.
I wonder what Dockich. Anybody listen to Dockich today?
I did.
No,
He's on
God.
5 side. He's on 5 side.
Wow.
I saw his tweet.
He pretty much said, "What's Woodson done for IU?" He goes, "Dane didn't lose to Purdue in the NCAA tournament. Dane got his team to he made him relevant again. He got him to the national championship." All right, there we go.
Oh,
Yeah,
Jesus.
I've been listening a little more Dockage because he actually is talking about Purdue right now since we do play this week. He had Sasha's dad on yesterday. He had Raphael on yesterday. Had Rob Blackman on today.
Is he back to loving
He had
Purdue?
Raphael on the other day after.
Yep, Raphael took it.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Raphael took it.
God.
Was on there yesterday. I couldn't believe it.
What did he do to Raphael?
Well,
He was ripping on him on Twitter.
It was after the
Wow.
Juwan Howard
No.
smack. He Dockett was talking about the handshake line, and he was essentially making fun of everybody who says "Oh, we have to have the handshake line." The sign of respect because Raphael had tweeted something, and he kept going off like, "Who's this Raphael Davis?" I was like, "You know who Raphael? Like,
Yeah.
I know he's just doing his shtick for his
Yeah.
TV show or for his radio show, but it's just like come
Both
on,
his out.
yeah, I
kick
forgot. Yeah,
show or whatever, and his
TV show.
I mean, he does all of it for ratings, and it works.
Oh yeah, it works. Yeah, it's shock jock. I mean, he knows what he's doing.
I mean, he rips on the Colts all the time, but now he's all in on Matt Ryan, so he's ready to
Oh
go.
yeah, until week 4.
Yeah, and then he'll go back and rip on Ballard and say he's a Grigson guy. So
Yeah,
I was gonna say because when IU kind of went on their little run at the end that got him in the tournament, he was all about like, "Oh, IU's so much better than Purdue." I feel like he's tweeting about like Purdue's not that good, IU's really good, but like 2 months ago, he's like Purdue's best team in the country.
Well, and the crazy thing was he's been ripping on us, and then it comes tourney time, he picked us and Iowa in his Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Which I felt like he did that just because he was hoping that Purdue would get bounced, and then he could be all over Purdue's.
Yeah, because I remember it was that whole thing when they were playing well, and we were struggling. It was like I don't want to hear anything from Purdue fans. Like you guys have never won anything. Like don't talk to me, sort of thing. It was just like I have listened to him. And,
if he flip sides, he can't be wrong, I guess, because
exactly.
I said they were terrible. I said they were great.
Exactly. Like today when he talked to Rob Blackman, he's like, Rob, why does Purdue just never have any drama? Indiana has drama every 6 months. like why do they not have the bad apples? And he goes, Purdue just does their thing. They win a lot. Sometimes they lose, but win or lose, they just keep on going, moving on, do their thing. And so he was all about like ripping on Indiana today. It was I enjoy
those usually the best. Those are after Purdue beats IU are the good days to listen to. Those and when Matt Painter's on, that's about the time.
Which if I'm Matt, I don't know if Matt will probably, but I don't know if I take the option to be on the show again for a while.
Yeah.
Unless Purdue wins the national championship, then Dockich will have to be all over him and saying how great he is and Purdue is. I got another question. If Purdue wins the national championship, how does that change the way they're viewed within the state?
Doesn't matter. Burn everything down. Doesn't matter. We did it. We did it. I don't care.
Because burn it all down. Like our generation hasn't seen Indiana win anything. They saw them get their 0-2, but
honestly, I don't think it would do anything.
Man,
I don't think so either. Just because of like the Hill Jacks he talked about, Tanner, that don't realize that IU hasn't like won an NCAA tournament game and
what would it be like? It'd be like good for you. Get 4 more. That's what it would be.
Yeah.
They could say that all. I hope they have to say that coming 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Hope they have to say that.
Yeah. I think it would do it. I mean, I think you might.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
I know.
Uptick, but it's like I don't think there'd be much. I mean,
it'd be more nationally than in the state, I think.
Well,
I think you would be a much bigger impact nationally than it would.
I would like to think the Indianapolis media would finally start giving Purdue the credit they deserve, but
it's just like Dockich. Who are their readers? It's the same people. Dockich and the Indy Star readers are the same.
Yeah. That's true.
That's why we do gold and black.
That's true. That's true. Good point. That's why I pay you guys the big bucks. Let's be honest, none of us get paid here.
No.
But if you're looking for something to eat tomorrow night during the game, it's a 7:09 tip time. That's right around dinner time. Give Mad Mush a call or order online. They got the March Pizza of the month, which is the Reuben, of course. Swiss cheese topped with corned beef, sauerkraut, mozzarella cheese, and finished with a Thousand Island dressing drizzle and caraway seeds, starting at $14. So get one of those and a cheese stick, or get 2 of those. Get your order over $20 and use the promo code BREAK5. That's in all caps, BREAK5 for $5 off any order over $20. And of course, if you go in there, just tell them the Boiler Breakdown sent you. Same thing, $5 off any order over $20. That's Mad Mushroom. Feed your head. And Webby, I see you're sporting a shirt from the shop tonight.
Yes, sir. They've actually got a couple new designs out since the tournament started. There's shopping.com. They've been making shirts in 211 really comfortable shirts. They do, not just shirts. They do, drinkware, hats, hoodies, really anything Indiana based. They do it. I mean, May's right around the corner, which is, if you're around the Indy area, the Indy 500, they take it very seriously.
I think about ordering one of those shirts every day because I get an email every day.
I know. They do a great job with
They
their
do
marketing.
awesome designs. Yeah. They're always doing deals online, but if you go to the shopping.com, use promo code breakdown, you get 25% off your order. They've also got 2 brick and mortar stores, one in Carmel at Clay Terrace and one in Indianapolis at Broad Ripple. Super awesome people. They're boiler owned. They do things for all schools across the state for the most part, except that school up in South Bend because they're 2 up in their high horse. But we're not going to talk about them. shopping.com, promo code breakdown, 20% off. Great shirts.
25% off, whether
25% off. As I say, 20, I said pay 25.
Yep. Not like those other podcasts that get 20%.
Right.
25. And the Boiler Breakdown podcast is also brought to you by Webb's Family Pharmacy. Webb's Family Pharmacy is an independently owned community pharmacy with stores located in Rochester, Akron, and North Manchester, Indiana. Of course, you can get your COVID-19 shots there. Simply call or go online, set up an appointment, and their friendly and caring staff will be happy to help you. For all of your high-quality medical equipment, supplies, and pharmacy services, check out their website, webrx.com, or you can simply give them a call. Webb's Family Pharmacy, the professional pharmacy with the hometown touch, and Boiler owned and operated. As is Sroufe Landscaping Nurseries. It is springtime. What you got, Andrew?
With Sir Sroufe Landscaping, has been in business for over 50 years. You can handle all of your landscaping needs, such as design, maintenance, irrigation, hardscaping, and they are licensed lawn applicators. You can contact them today for all of your landscaping needs at 574-223-2769. Sroufe Landscaping, design with you in mind.
My grass is starting to get green. It's almost time to get the mower out.
It's a freaking mud pit right now.
Yeah, mine looks like crap.
Mine's muddy too, but there are green spots.
Score update with just under 10 to go. Arkansas is up 5 on Gonzaga, and at the under 16, Villanova's up 3 on. Michigan.
Sounds like I better get in front of my TV.
Yep. Oh,
how great was the first weekend of the tournament, though?
It was fantastic. A lot of good games.
Yeah, that Thursday night, was it Thursday night or Friday night that like all the games went into overtime, like the evening games?
It was Thursday.
Thursday night, yeah. Murray, I think Murray State was in over.
Murray State, San Francisco,
St.
Peter's, Kentucky, both of the Indy games.
Yeah. Because I went to bed like 12:15, and the Murray State game was still overtime. I was like, I cannot imagine being downtown Indy right now at this game at 12:15 in the morning, and still have to watch more about it. It would have been sweet, but
and the whole thing started in the first 4, the Wednesday of the first 4 with Rutgers and Notre Dame in double overtime.
Yep. Rutgers or Notre Dame winning on St. Patrick's Day because the clock struck midnight.
But it's been fun. But let's boiler up, hammer down, beat the Peacocks. Then
let's have a podcast next week.
Either the Tar Heels or the Bruins. We will have a podcast next week, but hopefully it's not our season review. Hopefully it's previewing the Final Four in New Orleans. And hopefully
Tanner's booked his flights by then. And
I do have a message from our good friend Adam at Folsom Head. He says Purdue by 11. Boiler up.
I like it. Purdue by anything. I'll even take a 1-pointer. Let's just survive and advance.
Yep. Boiler up.
Boiler up.